MOTU Summit. Let's fucking dance. My name is Jeremy. My name is Jeremy? My name is Jeremy. I'm trying to start a kindness revolution in my spare time. It's called Long Distance Love Bombs. I'm going to tell you all about it. First, I want to ask you a question, and then I'm going to tell you a story. Question is this: what if kindness was cool? What if kindness was cool? And the story is one that I will never forget. The story starts in an airport. A couple years ago, I was standing at the gate. I was waiting for my flight to board. I looked over and I saw this woman who was sitting by herself and she was crying, talking on the telephone. I watched her for a few minutes. Eventually, she just put the phone down and she just started sobbing. And I felt terrible. I wanted to do something to help her out. So I reached into my wallet, I pulled out a business card. On the back of the card, I wrote, "It'll be okay, and you will be too." And I walked over, I handed her the card, I gave her a little pat on the back, I looked her in the eyes, and then I turned around and I walked off. And I boarded my flight. I felt like in that moment we had a connection. I felt like in that moment her life was a little bit better as a result of that small action. And I felt like in that moment I learned there is honor in helping someone get through the day. So I don't know what she thought of that experience, but I thought a lot about it during my flight. So why, in our world today, is it okay for a woman to sit and cry by herself when she's surrounded by a crowd of people staring at telephone screens and magazines, doing these ones? You know, why, in our world today, did nobody else come forward and help this lady? Why, in our world today, is apathy so acceptable and indifference so innocent? And I thought a lot about this during my flight. I started thinking, if this is the kind of world that I want to live in, like, is this the best that we can do? And I decided that it's not. And so I started daydreaming. I imagined this bright future where tomorrow is better than today. And in my version of reality, I saw the same woman crying the same tears, talking on the same phone, except in my version, I saw her being bombarded with support. Like, I imagined an old man shuffling over, giving her a hug. That's my old man impression. I pictured a group of girls coming over and asking if she's okay. I pictured a couple on their honeymoon stopping by to give her to ask if she's all right. I see our world tomorrow as a place where people don't run from emotion or hide from connection. It's a world where vulnerable expression is not that impressive, but rather just something we feel is accepted. I feel like that world is possible. So how do we get there? I sat on the plane that day, and I started thinking about making kindness cool. And I decided, even though I didn't know how I was going to do it, I was just going to do it, right? I pictured a world where compassion was popular. And I started thinking about what a kindness revolution might look like, and I decided that it would be the same as any other revolution, that it would start with an idea, and ideas are just words, and so I thought I'll just start there with words. And so I started writing, and I started sharing, and I started very small. Using this airport encounter as inspiration, I started writing little handwritten notes and leaving them everywhere I went. I left them underneath people's windshield wipers, at the grocery store, at bus stops, in the library, supermarket, just everywhere. I like the idea of surprise. I like the idea that in this crazy, cruel world of ours, that a stranger could stumble upon a bit of connection, on a bit of hope, on a bit of help. I knew that if I wanted to change the world, I had to connect with it. I had to be authentic and emotional. I had to be vulnerable. I had to be myself. I knew that if I wanted to connect with people, they had to understand what the hell I was saying. I needed to use common language, simple words. I needed short sentences. I had to take big ideas like hopelessness and fear and anxiety and turn those into manageable actions. I realized that if I wanted to stop the darkness, I had to become the light. And I needed to shine a way forward for people to follow. So I kept writing. I started a blog. I submitted articles online. I started a Facebook page and an Instagram account. I began a little charity campaign. I gave a TED Talk. I hosted a retreat in Bali. And now I'm in Canada somehow. Just cool. Thanks, brother. And that's super fucking cool to me. Overall, like, I'm trying to start an online kind vibe tribe that's trying to make kindness cool in the world a little bit better than it was yesterday. And that's great, right? Like, it's kind of adorable for a dude with a man bun to everybody be like, yeah, just be nicer to each other. It's great. But so what's the point? Okay, so this is the point. Shit's fucked. Like shit is fucked, and it needs to change. So I'm glad that went over well. I was a little worried about the profanity, but you guys are all right. So we live in a world of war, of sexism and racism, fascism, famine, poverty, pollution, corruption, starvation. The list goes on and on. Rape is so common, there are categories to define it. Date and gang, spousal, statutory. There are more slaves on this planet today than there have ever been before. And domestic assault is so common, it doesn't even make the nightly news because there are far more terrible things to report on. And think about that. These atrocities are terrible things, but they're also business as usual. They're normal. Is this the kind of world that we want to leave behind for our kids? I think deep down we know we all want to fix this, but we can't do more of the same and expect for things to change. We need new ideas to solve old issues. So here's a new idea. What if kindness was cool? What if compassion was popular? What if empathy was currency? And we live in a world where prisons overflow with millions of souls incarcerated for a myriad of violent crimes, drug offense, and lawlessness, and that is tragic. But the larger, more pervasive tragedy is that those of us not in prisons build our own. We take culture as mortar and peer pressure as bricks. We seal ourselves inside this nonsensical fortress, this fallacy of false feelings forced upon us by socially approved and accepted ideas of what we should do, how we should think, how we should feel, and I'm fucking tired of it. Hey, thanks. We need to change who we are as a society, and to do that, we need to transform who we are as people. For example, we live in a world where men are meant to love war, enjoy a good fistfight, be allergic to crying, smoke unfiltered cigarettes, lift weights, argue about football, and when discussing a girl, we live in a world where I'm meant to laugh and agree that, yeah, she has great tits. And even if I don't say it, I'm meant to at least think it, because somehow not thinking about breasts makes me less of a man. I should build things with my hands, grow a beard, never ask for help, love changing the oil in my car. I should mock poetry, tell dirty jokes, pretend I can't feel anything, and always, in all ways, I should be this knight in shining armor. But here's the thing. Shining armor is not something you wear, it's someone you are. By all means, be the knight that saves the day. But never forget, it's not what you look like that matters. It's how you think, it's how you feel, it's who you are, it's how comfortable you are in your own skin, and it's the things you stand up to defend. The real shining armor is how kind your heart is. And anyone who doesn't appreciate a kind heart isn't being tough, they're being hard. And being hard is hard fucking work. So what if in our world tomorrow, we work smarter instead of harder? What if in our world tomorrow, assholes were consoled instead of voted for? What if in our world tomorrow, a kind heart was a, hey! Just saying. You guys ruined my flow, damn it. What if in our world tomorrow, a kind heart was a prerequisite for politics? If we had more common sense and less Kanye West? What if in our world tomorrow we had more compassion and less Kardashians? What if in our world tomorrow loneliness didn't exist? Who would win then? Years ago, my mom was an alcoholic, and I didn't talk to her for months at a time, but I'd visit and find empty bottles of wine scattered throughout the house. It's funny to me how an expectation can still be a surprise. I knew I'd find the bottles if I looked, but every discovery was an earthquake that shook my family's foundation. Her drink of choice was white wine, Chardonnay. And to this day, when I smell it, I'm reminded of helplessness and broken mirrors, of slowly watching a car crash in the rain and remembering the wreckage raised me to be brave. My mom used to vomit blood. My mom used to vomit blood. And on the night of my birthday in 2012, she was in rehab. They took away her phone so she could detox. They took away her internet so she could focus on her healing. I had just moved overseas. I was in Australia. I felt about as far away as possible. And I distinctly remember one night walking down the street feeling fucking numb inside. I'd walk around, talk to people. How you doing? Yeah, fine. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. I was lying. And it pains me to say, but I think my ex-girlfriend was right. Vienna, you can talk about that. Why is that so hard? Maybe fine is another way to say fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. What if we gave each other the benefit of the doubt? Brene Brown says, life is better. Yeah, Brene. You guys are fucking great. Brene Brown says that life is better when we assume that everyone's doing the best they can. And she's right. When we give people love and understanding, we become love and understanding. What if we assumed that on any given day, someone that we were interacting with was having the worst day of their life? If we assume they're having the worst day of their life, would we treat them differently? Would you treat me differently if you knew that was the case? Not today. Today's a great day. Mark. But if you thought that about other people, would you treat them differently? I hope so. Years ago, a girl I loved did something I hated, and my heart broke and then shattered. Pieces of me scattered all over the floor. As I bent down to pick them up, trying to pick the parts of me and put this muddled mess of muscle back in my chest, I tripped and I fell. The pieces did too, and so did my piece, and I had to start again. It turns out that broken hearts can still beat. It turns out that sometimes they can break a bit more than before. It turns out sometimes you think something's broken when it really just hurts. I still had a life to live. I still drove around town. If I was a metaphor, I was lost looking for found. I'd show up somewhere and not remember how I got there. I would daydream when I drive. I had tears in my eyes. I'd accidentally change lanes. I'd miss the off-ramp. I'd go too fast and tailgate. I'd go too slow, piss people off. I wasn't trying to be a bad driver. I certainly wasn't an asshole. I was struggling. I needed a hug. I hadn't yet learned that you could fall to pieces and still be whole. I was flailing in rough seas. I was coughing up lungfuls of dark waves. I was thinking I was sinking because my arms were numb. I couldn't feel my legs, and what I needed was someone to tell me with a hushed assurance and a knowing grin that you'll drown slower if your chin's up, friend. Strangers is not the right line. What if it didn't piss you off that that car in front of you was going too slow? Like in 10 years, will it really matter if the car in front of you is going too slow? Strangers by definition are not people we know. We don't know each other's aches and pains, heartaches and heartbreaks. Some of us, on any given day, might be having a terrible day. A day like a rusted bucket of smashed crabs wrapped in old socks, soaked in dead skunk toes, hot mess, dress hairballs, and assholes. Some of us, on any given day, might be having an absolutely miserable day. A day like a shit sandwich, wrapped in burnt plastic, served with dead maggots, lost battles, rotten apples, and a side salad of bug tongue, scabs, and turds. You know, these days? Some of us might be having a day like a living, breathing reminder that we're not all there yet. We're rough edges with rough patches. We're more second glances and less second chances. We're missing pieces and peace. Still a student in a class where it's pain that teaches us the hard way of all the work we need to do. There's so many things to ponder and improve. For some of us, today hurt, and we're scared that tomorrow will be worse. We're hard work in progress, and that's okay. Years ago, a buddy of mine in college used to imitate this Black Eyed Peas song, and he would joke with this big, jolly Mexican accent, "Where is their love?" Say, "Where's the love, buddy?" His name was Jerry. He was incredible. He had a big spirit. People liked having him around. "Where's the love, buddy?" It was like his catchphrase. He'd show up at parties, people would smile. We loved him. "Where is the love, buddy?" And one day, Jerry got into his car, he drove outside of town, he walked out onto a bridge, and he jumped off. And Facebook told me that he died. Where's the love? Buddy Wakefield asked another question. He says, why are we not fighting fire with water? Compassion will not make us lazy. Our souls are just stories, and strangers are fables waiting to be read, to be seen, to be heard, to be deemed worthy. We all want to be seen and heard. We all want to belong. We all want to matter. What if kindness was cool and we helped each other matter? What if we realize that life is better when we remember everyone's doing the best that they can? What if we assume that everyone's struggling? And to those of us still stumbling, the good news and the truth is that the best people I know have been hurt the worst. They've been thrown down and torn apart, lied to and cheated on. They've been battered and bruised, maimed, shamed, and raped, and yet somehow they overcame. They worked hard. They turned brave. The best people I know have learned that a strong scream is no match for a silent stare. They know the aching, empty horror that makes bones throb, the vile darkness that light fears, the cold dust where embers used to glow. They've known pain and ache that is raw and real and dripping with despair. They've collapsed time and time again just to rise once more. Their wounds have not won. They have healed. The best people I know have taken shrapnel to the soul, broken hopes and broken bones, but they continue to move on. They are valiant, noble. The best people I know have seen soulmates become strangers. They've felt ghosts in their veins where gods used to reign. They have learned that a broken heart can shatter, and a shattered heart can splinter, but eventually it can break no more. And in that beautiful, morose moment, the broken become unbreakable, unstoppable. They are fearless and they are free. The best people I know are not immune to heartache. They are intimate with it. They are the blessed, broken angels circling the holy kingdom of forgiveness, the destroyed divine, crying tears of pristine grief. They are the lucky, scarred saviors pacing the grieving home. I've said that. The best people I know have been hurt the worst. They've just made the best of it. What if kindness was cool and we helped each other make the best of it? Do you guys remember that girl that I met in the airport? The one that was sad and sobbing? The one that was sad and sobbing? There she is. I've got 2 confessions to make about this story. The first one is that I've been this person in the airport crying. So have you. And you, and you, and you. You ever been scared or lonely? Have you ever got some bad news on the telephone? Have you ever felt like giving up? We've all been there. We've all needed a helping hand or a hug, a high five. The biggest truth and tragedy in life is that we're all uniquely the same. We've all been that person in the airport crying. Your airport might be a school or a job conversation, a relationship, but we've been there before and we'll be there again, and when we're there, we need help. So what are you going to do about it? Like when I stop talking, what will you start doing? Will you help a sad stranger the next time you see one? Will you listen to someone's answer when you ask them how they're doing? If they say they're doing fine, will you ask another question? Will you be brave enough to be kind? Because life is hard, and it's scary, and it's overwhelming, and I feel it every day. And I think we all do. But if we can face that fear together, something beautiful will happen. Things will change, life will improve, and this world will slowly get better. So let's be kinder to ourselves and better to each other.